Looking at the clock.
Yeah, clock's in here. I was looking at it too.
It's
But it's in between.
Yeah.
It's in between the two.
All right. This Historic Preservation Commission meeting is being held on November 12th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Statement of adequate notice. Pursuant to the Sunshine Law, adequate notice in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6 was provided on January 28th, 2025 of this meeting's date, time, and place. The agenda was mailed to the Cranberry Press and Home News Tribune, posted on the Township Bulletin Board, and mailed to those requesting personal notice, and filed with the municipal clerk. Roll call and volunteer hours, please. Ms. Sutmer?
Here, and then get back to me on the hours. And then
Okay, that's fine. Ms. Ryan is not here yet. Mr. Geyer is out. Mr. Hool?
Here, half hour.
Ms. Marlowe?
Here, 1 hour.
And Mr. Zaba?
Here, 3 hours.
3 hours. And Ms. Villarini is not here. Mr. Christopher is here, and Ms. Yan is here. All right, we have a quorum.
And you can put me down for 8 hours.
Okay.
All right. So we need to, with applications, we can start by going through minor and minutes.
Okay, it's somewhere in my pile. Okay, just the one for this month. So it was for 15 Station Road, a roof replacement. It was just an asphalt roof to an asphalt roof. And that's
That's great. They put in an application. Even so. Okay, good. So next, we will go through old business. Okay, amendments to the Cranberry Historic District. Okay, so a question, I guess, is have you heard anything from Liz?
yeah. So she said she's working on the
Ordinance?
yeah, she's working on it this week.
Okay.
So we should hear back. I'll send anything along that I hear back.
So then it'll go to TC, and then it goes back to the planning board, and then back to TC again.
again.
Okay. And by then, everyone will be hopefully very tired.
Yeah, that's usually what happens.
Okay. Any other comments on this area? Anything? I know, Dave, you gave an update on CLG in email.
Yes.
We're going to work on.
Well, Sue's not here, so she was interested. For 2026 around.
Mhm.
So the way the different areas broke out the numbers from our last application. So there were 54 farmhouse properties outside the historic district that were to be surveyed, and that's something it sounded like, because I listened to the meeting of the 21st the other day. So it sounded like Sue was maybe going toward maybe looking at having the farmhouses done in this next round. But we need to find possibly not just a intensive level survey like we do inside the historic district, because a lot of the properties you can't see from the street very well. So there was some other ideas that we listened to a webinar a number of months ago about like thematic, like farming families. So, but there are some farmhouses that you can get good pictures from the street and tie. So it might be that we need to have a short call or something with Richard Grubb, just if he's familiar with, or come up with some ideas
Okay.
for that. So that's if we want to do the farmhouses. The other ones, I think now, since we got rid of the buffer area, we have the properties, 24 properties that we're putting into the expanded historic district. But I think all of those properties, the 24, are non-contributing.
Yeah. So
Pretty
it's
much.
okay.
No? Well, most of them. Okay. Okay. Well, we can always pull that out and put it in. The other group was properties not surveyed previously for several reasons, like the one on Park Place West, the corner house. It doesn't exist on the tax map. And the tax record is 61. I think it's 61 North Main Street. It's part of the properties, the block on the two houses that are going to be coming down, I guess.
And then the old firehouse.
And the old firehouse, somehow it was just, there were different properties that were not done the first three rounds. And then there's some that we want to, some that have been renovated. So from the last meeting, Brendan, you made a good point about the surveys being redone every 10 years or so. But to track possibly properties that have had extensive renovations. So the one on the corner of Scott Avenue was one. Looks quite a bit different than what was last surveyed. So that has to be brought back in. So that's only 11. So we could shift some things around. But the biggest block is farmhouses. But how are we going to do the farmhouses? So that would, if it changes, well, it would have to change because it's just very complex any other way to do it as far as the write-up of the CLG ground. The others could follow the template, basically what Lori wrote for this past one. We could pull those sections out and just update them and reuse them. But the farmhouse one is tricky.
Okay. The Hamlet ones were done in our last round, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I guess the next step would be having like a little strategy session where we decide, the final decision.
Yeah. Now the Hamlet one, that's another point. I don't know. I don't think we did the train depot though.
Yeah.
So we could put that in. And then the other, again, looking at long-term, again, Brendan, from your thought on the redoing properties every so many years, and having recently all of us reviewing the ordinance and what's required. And I don't think over the years we've really been diligent in that. When work has been done on a property, we don't really have a record after it's done. So I don't know if we can put on our application form once it's done, can the property owner send a picture of what was completed so we know when it was completed? And then if that doesn't happen, maybe we go through the applications over the running past the past 2 years, see which ones have, an application was submitted but never completed, time ran out, or it was completed, we have no record. Then I'd be willing, to have a list, it would be a short list, and going around and taking pictures of, the street facade of what's done. So at least we have it in our file. So then next round of survey, they could look at that and get, put all the pieces together. But that we don't really have a handle on, and especially going back to properties, unless they're so obvious, to have them resurveyed specifically because they've had major renovations.
Yeah.
It's a good idea that you have there, that maybe it's not that we're resurveying everything every decade.
Right.
We can review the applications, and just the application itself will be able to tell, is this significant enough of a change that it should be a priority to resurvey? And even if we weren't getting the photos of what it looked like afterwards, we'd still, that could be our guide as to what is a priority.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, the state database doesn't allow us access to update it for simple things. I mean, just you could add another photo. This is what it looked like after this renovation was done. But that's the way it is. So I guess it keeps the consultants busy.
Great. So I'll just down we'll have a strategy session. I guess yourself and Sue sort of finalize, the theme that we will do.
And we should have time for that because it's not that end of January deadline like we've had in years past. So well, it's probably going to be, what was it, originally April, I think. I think it was moved to either March or April. But it gives us, a little more time than what we've had in in the past 3 surveys that we had to get it done, submitted before the end of January.
Any other comments? Okay, so next topic is identifying the house of historic sites outside the district. I guess we're kind of in that same topic. I have some updates. The first update is I sent with the election happening and we now know who's in TC next year for sure. I took your list of the CLG properties and I sent it to everyone in TC. And I basically stated that, we know that this is the list of all the properties that we are investigating. And with them not doing the Henry farmhouse, there's another property that they're going to be using.
The one across the highway,
Was that?
across from Dunkin' Donuts, that's going to be torn down, right?
Yeah, that one.
So that we should get
Yeah.
access, at least
Yeah,
to document it
that's
somehow.
another topic, yeah. But,
Yeah.
There's another one they're gonna have that's mysterious, we don't know what it is, where it is yet. But we know that it's close to a warehouse because they got the state to change the rules around that. And there's a chance that it will have an old structure on it. So
Okay.
the idea is that I sent that on to them and said that, if you're considering a property and it has any of these structures on it, to contact us and, it'd be great for us to start working together in this sooner in the process so that we don't learn about everything
Yes. And
so
what,
late where we don't have any chance to really
and it's unfortunate that, historically, many houses were moved
Yeah.
in the past, and recently,
Yeah.
like the one by the police station, that was moved. So, why isn't that an option? If something could be worked out where a house that's, threatened to be demolished could be moved somewhere.
I mean, I think-
Or save those, yes.
And I think that the biggest challenge that we had is that with this situation with the Henry Farm and with the Victorian is that it was identified and chosen and they decided to demolish it and we never even got to really assess whether that was even an idea. You know what I'm saying? Obviously we knew that Victorian is a beautiful home. If let's say the Henry house was we found out the Henry house was not going to be demolished, but let's say it was, I don't know, would we have determined that the Henry house was a priority?
Yes, because it came up it was on
It was
several
on our list,
master
right?
plan
In the master.
as a significant
So then,
structure.
but you know what I'm saying? There's other
Well,
properties around
well,
that
the-
have
yeah.
structures on them that may not be as big as important.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think
The problem with the Henry Farm, this is in hindsight, but I don't see what the big deal was. If they just had said, yes, we're looking at that property, but the structure is going to stay. That was the big group.
and they were
They're going to tear everything down.
They were confined by a lot of things, I guess. But I did want to let you know that I did send that list on to
Okay.
them. And I think that they're going to value it. I think it's going to be helpful for them to have it, and I think that we should send it to them every year so that they remember it every single
Well,
year.
a lot of them were in the master plan. A number of them were. So it's been out there.
But I do have one update on the so I have an update on the Victorian that you guys were talking about. So I had a one-off with Wayne Whitman, who's planning board chair, and according to the owner of who's going to be demolishing it, that Victorian, they are open to doing whatever with the property, with the house. That if they don't have an interest in, they don't feel like they need it, right? They want to demolish it. So if we wanted to do something with it, they don't care. You know what I'm saying?
So we'd have to come up with a plan what to do with it. Unfortunately, we don't have a little or larger plot of land like where the barn park is, like a little bit bigger, so you can put a house in it. you know.
Well, it used to be easier too. I mean, there was one house I can think of. It was moved from the other side of Route 130.
Yes,
using the
on
old-
Station Road.
But it's harder to do it now.
Yes.
And the one that's last before you get to the park and stuff.
Mhm.
That used to be.
Yes, yes. So we've had a number of those. But would it be an option to open it up to the public, saying this house is threatened to be torn down? Is there anybody out there that might be interested in
I think,
buying it and, for a nominal amount and then moving it?
I think so.
At least put that
That's
option out there.
I think we're doing that right now because,
Right.
yeah, because that's what I'm hearing is that there's not much of a value to it.
Right, but if it's not advertised, like it's available.
It's not in the eye of the town, it's not seen as valuable, so
Right.
maybe someone else sees it as valuable.
It was carefully renovated.
It was.
Residence.
And there's elements on the inside of it
Yeah,
too. that
yeah,
are-
when it was used as a residence. It was
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very concerned about restoring it and keeping it up.
So, I mean, I guess right now we're doing it by right now kind of making it public because we're on YouTube right now. So,
Yeah,
I
but
think,
officially, I don't know if the township council could do that. Offer it officially.
There probably is a website like one of our houses.
Yeah,
or something.
something like that.
I
Yes.
don't know what those websites are, but that probably exists, and we should probably sure.
At least it gives it a chance. If nobody takes it, okay. But it's not like you're not giving anybody a chance. We're just, bulldozing it and that's it.
could we get some support from TC and whatever the process would be to?
So my assumption, I think it's a great idea. My assumption is the township couldn't sell it until we bought it
Mhm.
first, right?
Right.
And then there's going to be massive timing implications because we need to have shovels with the dirt within like 2 years.
Well, I mean, if somebody's interested
Yeah,
and you give them those timelines,
if they want to buy it for $1 and move it
Mhm.
in 2 months, great.
move it or dismantle it and rebuild it.
Yeah,
You could do it that way.
yeah, take the park piece by piece over a
Yeah.
period of time. We'll certainly talk about it. I don't think anybody would be averse to it, but it would be a question of timing as to when
Yeah,
we actually.
But that's
take-
certainly, it's not like it's going to happen by June of next year.
Correct.
So if the sooner it gets out there as an option, you
Yeah,
never
I think
know.
people
Somebody
need
might
to
be
know.
interested and say,
You never know.
I'd like to take on that project and I have a lot of land.
Or
It doesn't have to be necessarily in Cranbrook. I mean, it could be in Monroe or somewhere.
Sure.
The
whatever.
other thing too is Guy mentioned, I guess Guy mentioned he has a short house where, all the compartments are salvaged from another property. I mean, I think that's also an option. I mean, it's not ideal for historic preservation, but it's like, if there's no one who wants the entire structure, I mean, I think the compartments of it.
Yes.
From an environmental perspective. we can get-
Well, a lot of old houses in Cranberry, mine included, you could tell, a lot of old houses in Cranberry, mine included, when an addition was put on, it was not new wood. It was wood from some other structure
Yeah.
that they
I mean,
used.
Yeah, again, maybe Ms. Rogers is, are kind of a point on a lot of environmental things and, the historic preservation and environmental.
Sustainability,
go
that's the
together
word.
very much so. So rather than putting an old Victorian into the trash, maybe we could recycle.
That has some very nice elements.
Thoughts?
We talked about timing issues. How soon will the township, I saw that there was a resolution for the purchase, authorizing.
Correct.
Purchase of it.
Yeah.
How soon would that be executed, that transaction?
It's a good question, and I don't know the answer to. I assume it's going to take some time, right? Just any real estate transaction takes some time. I imagine early next year.
If it turns out that there's actually a lot of time before that transaction happens, I wonder if you talk about the owner not wanting it, I'm wondering if you're maybe talking about the developer not wanting it, I'm wondering if the current owner of the property before it becomes the township's, I wonder if the current owner would also be willing to sell the house for $1, and then we could start moving on it even before the township owns it. I don't, if it ends up that the timing is trickier to wait until the township owns it.
I would guess shared ownership on a piece of property might make it more complicated to actually transition, but we can certainly talk about it.
No, I don't think there would be
Structure.
any, yeah, it would be the structure.
Right.
itself.
Right, so
Okay.
if hypothetically a third party were to own the structure while the township is purchasing the property, et cetera, there's essentially at that point 3 people involved in the transaction. We can talk about it, it's, again, certainly options.
But that's the right thing to do, is to talk about it now before
Yeah.
the bulldozers arrive.
Mhm.
Hard to do after the.
Okay, cool. So I think we've covered the Victorian. The other update is I got a message from our mayor, and she was asking for us to submit all the, make sure we have all of the documents that we had given to her on the 147 Plantsboro Road, the Protinic Dancer House. And so I actually couldn't remember what we had sent to them other than the slides that we had given them and the SHPO opinion.
Well, who sent it? You directly from your email, or how? Or
That's what I was
Gina
gonna
said?
just look and
I
See.
may have some,
I don't
I'll have
think
to look,
I
I may
did.
have some paperwork. And I think Stephen may have some, Stephen goes.
okay, so that's what I wanted to do is just what before I go and like look through and recheck everything and send it on. She wanted to know if there's anything in addition
I'll look and see what I
that
Yeah.
we have.
And just going forward.
Yeah.
It might be a good idea if you're sending anything like to the town mayor,
Mhm.
copy Gina.
Oh yeah, she is.
I think I was.
So at
when I
least if
was
you don't
somewhere.
remember it, it's there somewhere.
No, I did.
Okay.
I always copied Gina. So
Okay.
Gina has it, but it was from April.
I think it was
like,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, it's been a long time. But yeah, yeah, but yeah.
Okay.
So additionally, if there's any additional information.
She's asking for
Right,
anything.
like if there's anything else you guys want to share
What does she have?
to put.
That's what she doesn't know, and so I don't know.
Well,
So
what
I'm gonna
else?
have to go back and submit.
What else would we be able to share? Because we weren't on the property when they did the inspection, so there's nothing any of us saw, right?
No, I guess it's documents or documentation.
Yeah, theoretically, if anything else that arisen.
I think
in the last
probably you
30
sent
has
it,
been
yeah.
Uncovered in 6 months, I'm sure whatever we have
Yeah.
is probably the lion's share.
Yeah.
But ideally, it would be good to have just like,
Sure.
so nobody misses something, so nobody forgets something, just give us one sort of package. Like this is.
Sure,
This is
sure.
our- This is our
I am
argument.
gonna ask too, like, what are they giving to us? Because we had in our last follow-up from April asked that they do a survey of the property and do a, cultural, environmental assessment of, and historical assessment of the whole area. We haven't received anything back from them. So again, it's like the chicken and the egg. It's like we have plans for building some new structure that's supposed to be a replica, but then the survey of the original house was never ever done. So where is that original survey?
Stephen may have some.
Steve,
Stephen goes.
he had it surveyed? you think?
What do you have?
Okay, all right. I will, with y'all's permission, I'll reach out to Steve Galsano and ask him if he has any additional documents that we might need to submit. And then I was gonna just double check and make sure that they have our Department of the Interior.
And his intention was to restore the house. And then it got sold.
Hmm.
Okay, so, but again, I think Secretary of the Interior, I don't think that this document is getting looked at by the buyers, because to build a replica, like you have to take an old structure apart piece by piece, like Legos, and then find every single piece that is salvageable and put it in the replica. That's what the Secretary of the Interior says about a historic property. And so I don't think that people are looking at that document. So I was gonna resubmit that as well. And then I was gonna resubmit and make sure they have the slides, which haven't changed since before. And our opinion hasn't changed. And then the SHPO opinion from the state.
Mhm.
Is there anything else?
What I have left in my file.
All right, so the SHPO and then Secretary of
And
Interior.
the secretary, was that the document that I forwarded over?
The book, it's like a book.
Booklet. of
I gave that
documents.
to them. I gave them my copy.
Yeah,
But it's
structures in
online
danger.
as well. Yeah, it's online. So I think I'll just send them the link to, or maybe the online Secretary of Interior. So it's okay. Or do you think I should just give them this section about
Yeah,
demolition and replicas?
the parts that are relevant, the most relevant.
Because you're focusing in on it.
Yeah, because there's a lot. So I'll send the sections on demolish, replica, and then restoration.
And I think in a perfect world, just while we're chatting, if you could shoot that over by like the 17th, 18th, that would be great, just in advance of the 24th, the meeting on the 24th, so people have time to actually digest it before the ordinance is read.
What ordinance?
So there's gonna be an ordinance written and read for the 24th.
Why?
To provide for the public hearing on the 8th of December.
Oh, you have to do an ordinance to announce the public meeting? Okay. All right, and I didn't know if I could tell people about the public meeting, so yeah, there's a public meeting in December.
But the
early
key
December.
question, Jen, what you just brought up, and I think that needs to be emphasized.
Okay.
The new owner is stating or would like to tear down the house, build a replica of the existing house. And the question is, and you said this, how can you build a replica if you haven't documented the house, the existing house? It's impossible.
That's why I'll ask Lisa, when I send this stuff back, I'll ask her, like, you know, are we going to be able to see what the family's providing back to us? In terms of, like, you know, proper, like, evaluation, you know, aside from the people that they had hired to go in and, you know, find the defects. I think, you know, that's.
And it should they hire
unbiased.
too, what perspective they're coming at it.
Yeah, exactly, like an unbiased, exactly. Okay. So what date did you say, Robert, that it should get to? Lisa needs everything by?
Ideally by the 17th, we would need it.
Okay, 11/17. I get it for sooner than that.
Perfect.
Today's 11/11. Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, what else? I think that was that on this topic. Okay. All right, you guys. Next topic, Cranberry Station Hamlet. So this is, I spent so much time on this, and okay, so let me just take you through really, and I hope you guys have a chance to look at this because it's like so long. So I spent a lot of time on this because if you look at this application, it's not really set up to designate what we're working to designate. It's really based on like a single property.
Yeah.
And so I started trying to fill it out like multiple times, and I'm like, this thing is just not even conducive to what we're doing. So I kind of just created like our own Word document on Google Word documents. And I started with the first thing was where it says the threats to the property. I felt like that was the first thing that was most conducive. And so that statement really focuses in on how unfortunately this historic site has sort of been like the victim of when the township split between Monroe and Cranberry. It was really negatively conducive, impacted because of borders. And historically, towns don't pay a lot of attention to their borders in terms of like the land use. And then we had on the Monroe side properties, built right up along the border. And then this side where it was zoned as light industrial got used as originally had been farmland as light industrial. It became the same definition of warehouse, and now the whole area is threatened by being encircled by warehouses, and there's an impact from traffic, there's an impact from noise, there's an impact from just people building on properties the size of a postage stamp, and that's really the threat to this property. So that was that section. Then I went into like the property owners, and I do have additional names of the owners of some of the other, like some very strangely shaped lots that were kind of on the in that area. But I have that from so sweet, her name from the tax office, Amina. Okay, then exterior description. I tried to use language similar to what was done in the application where Heightstown had gotten their rail station lines designated. The only problem I have is like, and it's kind of is the language around how you describe boundaries of properties, because they say like, it's very technical, and I'm not like I'm not like a mapping.
You have to give coordinates.
Not everything but coordinates. I feel like it was very technical. But you guys, I'm just got to this point where I'm just doing my best. And I think that given that this application is a little different than just like a single property, we're going to just have to put in our best.
Is it
Because
something Liz can help with to clean it up a little bit? Or give
I
that
could
additional-
ask her, yeah,
The little details that you're looking for.
if I'm allowed to ask Liz. I don't know. Yeah. Do you think that I can? I'll ask her.
Probably.
It's okay. Maybe I can send it to her and be like, do you have any recommendations? It's the section, like the setting where it says the area we define south of Cranberry Station. So I actually wrote this out because I tried to, again, make it into the circle south of Station Road, east of Heightstown Cranberry Station Road, north of the pond, and then in block 13, lot
And
13.
is it east also of the rail line?
Includes the rail line.
It includes the
Okay, then we start getting into the history, and this was the fun part. So there's a section on Cranberry Township history. It touches on the Camden Amboy Railroad history. I started adding in notable figures, and I didn't know if you guys thought it'd be a good idea to add a bio for each of the notable figures that are tied to this area, including, General Stockton. Apparently, Tyrone Power was a famous actor who was on part of the train accident. And then Robert Stevens, who was the architect of the railroad. John Quincy Adams, who knows? Like, I don't know if this is something. I mean, I could add something really brief.
Yeah, couldn't it be like footnotes or something like.
Yeah.
Mention the name and then at the end you have a footnote and just put their little bio or whatever. I don't know if that's.
Yeah. I'm just trying to build a case as
Mhm.
well, because what I'm going to do when I'm done with all of this too is this is going to go into PowerPoint, because
Mhm.
I do everything in PowerPoint. I feel like it's how you get a point across, and so I feel like this is kind of flow with PowerPoint.
So the only thing that was not included, which I totally understand, on the form, the official form, it asks for interior description, which we don't do.
Exactly. Yeah.
And none of I don't think any of the houses in Cranberry's historic district was interior was ever.
I tried to pull in a lot of history that I found on the railroad, and again, I really made this railroad focused because I think I mentioned, you weren't here in the last meeting, but I had this revelation that basically, like, even though the state at the time had said to us, like, we think that you guys should talk about the agriculture and that type of stuff, the problem is it's all gone. It will be gone within the next 5 years. It's you can't save something that's already been gotten rid of. And so there's really no agricultural property anymore around this hamlet, unfortunately, or won't be once the warehouses are finished being built. So I feel like we should just focus in on making this really tight around railroad.
Well, wasn't it the farmers bringing their
Yeah, and I mentioned
Their,
that,
their
And-
goods or their produce
And
to the,
that's-
to the railroad
and that's what I did. Like, so
for transport.
So I mentioned that why the town, where is it?
And it supported the town. It helped build the town up.
Exactly. That's what I pulled that in somewhere. Has sort of like after the period. So I put the period of significance is 1830 to 1872. They wanted our period to be more tight, and so I had it begin with the railroad getting established, and it ended when Camden Amboy actually got acquired and consolidated by another railroad. So it's funny because they were having this like whole monopoly and then this fight and then it became acquired. And then for a few more years, railroad was like in its heyday and then it just sort of went
Sure.
downhill. So I wrote, and I saw this in the Heightstown application, is they mentioned things that happened after the period of significance. And so I think somewhere in here I put like how later on this happened, later on that happened.
Well, you're very descriptive in the history starting in the 1830s.
Yeah.
So that,
And then, and I'm going to have the acreage of the properties from the tax thing. I had to add it up. And then, yeah, and that's it. And then what I was going to do next is take this, kind of figure out how to attach it to this as much, and, write in here basically like C attached, or appendix A, B, C or something. And then I was going to print out all of the evidence, like that we have all the history, because I had scoured and I have like this high of documentation that we can attach, as well as the bibliography and the application from the original railroad corridor the ship opening from the original railroad corridor, and then the Heightstown application. And I was going to put it all together into like a little book or something. And then make a PowerPoint presentation that the people of the state can see, and it will basically tell the story of how, this is, one of the most significant places in railroad history. And it's really just getting like, what is the word?
Taken over.
Taken over.
I don't know. I can't think of the word either.
Yeah, surrounded by everything. It's like a little house.
the warehouse and roachment.
Yeah, encroachment. Yeah. And that for the railroad enthusiasts, and there's so many railroad enthusiasts, this would be like a really great thing to get designated, especially since it's already, part of it is already designated or already SHPO'd as eligible for the railroad corridor.
Mhm.
So yeah. And then the case would be to get a COE so that we can get funding to be able to bring in an expert to do like the full kit and caboodle on the area. And so we can get it national registered. Recognized.
Do we have any examples in the state or broader than the state that might be on the national register of a railroad hamlet like this that we can use to help guide our description and application and also just help so we're not going in blind?
I can do a search and stuff. I mean, I used what Lindsay had gotten for us from the corridor, and that was not actually done as like the same way because it's so long ago. They did things differently. The Heightstown application was kind of like what I used. The problem with the Heightstown application is that it was based on like they were preserving like the tracks and the sleeper stones, and we have that probably on our thing, like along the corridor. Those sleeper stones, you just can't see them; they're underground. But their application was very like technical about like the rocks and like where they came from. It was very like engineering focused, whereas ours is more about like the cultural things, like with the monopolies and the robber barons and the community engineering, transportation. So it's like a different theme. But I'll take a look and see, because like I know Pennington, they have like a cute little railroad station.
Ringo's, I think.
Yeah, I'll do a search and see if I can find like if there are applications out there. It's a good idea. Did you guys have any other comments on this? Anything you think
Good
was
job.
missing?
You specifically called out that it's missing the owner of the railroad tracks, but we do have two addresses for them.
Yeah, and I think that from, I'm gonna use what I got from the tax
Okay, yeah,
records.
either the,
The problem is it's like, PO Box so-and-so Philadelphia, Consolidated Rail Tax Agent PO Box
Yeah.
8488 Philadelphia.
we
There's
could
no
use
name.
that, or I saw that the railroad has just like here's our address to use to contact the company. So if it wasn't, since it isn't specifically about taxes, I'm not sure which is the better address to use for them. But so that I got from their website.
Really? Consolidated Rail? Okay, I'll take a look and try to use that as an alternate. And I don't know if I should I don't think I should call them at this point. Like,
No.
Yeah, I don't think they care because this is a preliminary application.
Right.
This is just the first step in many other things. Okay. Cool. Okay, Resolution New Jersey. Any updates?
We are meeting tomorrow to see what the next, event will be.
Nice. Okay, public outreach. I have an update. Actually, before we get to the library, did you have any updates on interactive map that you wanted to share?
Yes, well, actually, could you or Gina, however we ended up with these corrections
Yes.
Yeah.
the table.
Yeah, I can go into it a little. The property owner came in a little while ago at this point, and she would. Oh, this really didn't scan well. Well, I summarized it at least, but she came in and she had notes on her interactive map, like just property report, and she had some corrections to it. It's a little hard to read. I don't know why it copied like this, but it kind of just describes certain things about the addition that was on the house. And she'd been there for a while, so she was like, no, these dates aren't right, and these things were added different times than what was said on there. So if you look at the very back, I just summarized it into like an addendum, I guess.
Was this in our phase 2 group? Do we know?
I'm not sure. I mean, it says it was
Yes.
done in
Yeah, because
2018.
we had a problem with that.
This
That contractor.
organization at the bottom of phase 2.
Yes, because I spent time walking through on the street, and even my house came up wrong with things I specifically pointed out, and a number of other houses. And then when we had the review of the information, we had them correct it.
Yeah, I emailed her, but she didn't answer.
So I'm not surprised that there's things that are not accurate on here.
So what I wanted to have a discussion about was these revisions, these particular corrections or additions. I wanted to think more broadly than just this one home. Dave or Maggie were talking about how we might know about once I have renovations and we have no way to update the property report. There is an opportunity here since our interactive map more or less serves as our inventory for our historic resources. And so we kind of have that responsibility to keep that updated as best we can. Should we devise some sort of standards and process for kind of appending some sort of addendum to a PDF if the commission has learned either maybe from a homeowner because of our own experience or knowledge of the property, something to supplement that PDF? What should that process look like?
Well, I'm thinking property like this, just like the one on Scott Avenue. That one has major renovation since it was surveyed. This one, we're finding that there was incorrect information in the survey. So I would think we put this on the next list when we're doing property updates, so they can do a little deeper dive, point out from the property owner, this is what we're getting back from the property owner, and have the contractor update it appropriately. And it would give us, when we go to review the information, we'll have this as a sort of a flag. We could do it a little deeper.
Are
You
you
know.
making the case that we should not update or append a page in PDF and only put on the website what was professionally surveyed, that we shouldn't be adding addendums?
I thought we couldn't do anything on the state database, or
It wouldn't be the state.
Oh, it would be on
It
ours.
Our interactive map where we're clicking the property and that PDF now would have an extra page at the end. I don't know how to.
well, maybe we could put something. So comments from the property owner, like disagrees with how we're wording it. And this will be resurveyed at our next round of intensive level
It
surveys.
depends, I mean, in this particular case, I mean, they were contractors, they did the work themselves. So,
Right, but we,
that might not be the case. Other people may just have some idea, without really knowing.
right, but it could be investigated. My concern is, so the township's database would have the correction, but the state database wouldn't have it. So we gotta, at some point, make it the same.
Well, I like the idea of doing like the addendum on our
Yeah.
website and kind of indicating that this is gonna get looked
Yes.
at, like, because I feel like it's showing that we hear the property owner, we're doing the best we can, but at the same time, we're not trying to take the place of what is done officially and put on the county site.
Right,
So we have
right.
to respect that too, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's a good, like, if we can make that, people to do that, and then it's.
Yeah, yes, adding a page in PDF is very possible. Would we want the commission as a whole to review anything that was, and because the professional survey was reviewed by the commission. And so I think we probably, any addendums deserve similar level of
Yes.
review from the
Yeah.
commission.
The only difference was we were looking at 100 properties, in a 3-hour session going through, and all of us were looking for things that popped out and not doing a deeper dive into a particular property. So this we can, because it was pointed out, so it deserves to be looked at closer. And I think going forward, again, from the whole idea of long-term planning every 10 years or so, getting properties resurveyed, but we certainly can have a grant application to specifically look at properties that have had major renovations, to get those properties updated with the state and in our database as well.
So we will make note of these, if you have time to implement that. Thank you. We'll do that.
I'll put that as a note
Yep.
for the
And then we can
2026. We
circle
can,
back with the homeowner, take that and let them know that we're gonna re-look at their property next time.
and if you could let us know what that actually says up there, we can.
I don't know why. I'll send it
Yeah,
out. I
that's
have it
okay.
digitally.
That's all. It's not a lot, just so we know. what we're talking
Yeah.
Okay, so,
So actually, just Gina, if you're gonna follow up with the homeowner, can you just verify that the sentence of the vacant windows was also added? Is that referring to when the garage was built or something, like the time when that vacant windows was added? It's not clear.
Yeah.
okay. So you guys, I am excited. I finally had a chance to connect with the librarian from the library, and I learned some really, really cool things about the library. I wish Steve was here to hear, so hopefully she'll be able to watch it. So, okay, so here's what I found out is that basically we've had that library program where we gave books, put them on the shelves, the library took them, they put them on the shelf. And that was how it was done. When we moved to the new library, the library is a modern entity that is run with more formality and rules and guidelines and board and processes. And they have their own strategic plan at this point. Whereas like before, when the library was kind of just like smaller in the school, it kind of was, a little less, big,
Organized.
yeah. But it was great, and that was how it was. And I think our library has evolved, right? And they are running as a modern library, and with digital becoming what it is, they've had to evolve how they run their library. And so, to make a long story short, I pretty much found out that there are our books got thrown out. Like a lot of our books got
What?
thrown out.
You're
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah, like they threw out anything that
Without even
they
offering
no.
Guess what I said?
Yeah, and their objectives are to have on the shelf books about Cranberry history. And so the books that we had that were not specific to Cranberry history, they did not see those as important.
things that were things like for.
The architecture, yeah, the architecture books.
Really?
No,
I
they
would
don't
think
see
at the very
that.
least they would have offered them back to us.
Yes.
I don't know if they knew that they were ours.
They should have been documented because that was.
I know.
Because it hasn't been, maybe it's been 10 years. I mean, it hasn't always been that case. We started maybe a little bit more than 10 years ago because the issue was we bought books
I know.
every year and they were upstairs
Yeah,
and who
I
had
know.
access to them?
I know, but
They-
like, the library has their own vision.
But
for
let
things.
me,
Yeah.
when you said that, it's a new
Yeah.
public library building. But shouldn't the public library of Cranberry support the historic part of Cranberry?
And they feel that they do
Well, that's their opinion.
because they have retained all the books that were on Cranberry history.
Yes, but that's still from their perspective.
Yes, so, and that is what they are,
There's lots of things in the library that don't have to do with Cranberry history.
yeah,
They have
Yeah.
to do with architecture.
Yes.
Other things.
Yes, I am too.
I know, but you guys saw when they originally, the thing that triggered this whole thing was when we were donating a book that was the second most important children's book about historic preservation. They sent it back to us and said that it doesn't meet our objectives. And they gave me a 4-page document on their policies for donations. So they have their own way of doing things.
It's not like they're out of space. I mean,
Well, in a way they are, I think, and that's the problem because
still, wouldn't have hurt to say,
I
you
know.
don't need these, do you at least want them?
I know,
Yes.
but here's what, I had a very nice conversation with the director because what I was trying to understand from her is like how I explained to her, I said that, these books that we had on architecture were, important because Cranberry is a architectural,
They're resources
sample
for
of
homeowners to
everything and
use.
homeowners' resources. And she said that the way in which they educate homeowners and people in the community about things is through programs. And so she encourages us to have some programs, which I think could be really fun.
That's a good idea too, but
Yeah. And so she thinks that we could, for example, do some programs on maintaining old houses, windows, like we could do a program on, so you bought a historic house, how are you gonna do things, or how are you gonna,
quite things.
update?
That's why some books were published. They give those guidelines.
And I guess the public appetite, in her opinion, is not for these types of books. They're not going to look at these books. They're gonna like. She thinks that programs are the way to go. I know, you guys. I know, and there may be these books may be still somewhere in the library.
But programs don't, they come around, you can't have them necessarily continuously. And when a
Yeah.
homeowner needs some information,
But
they may have missed that program.
we can like video it and put it on our
We're not in the,
website.
we're not in the video.
We
A book
do.
is such a good reference.
Yes.
I know. I even
That's why they
asked
still
her-
that's why they still publish those books.
I even asked. Well, I asked her even about electronic books. I said, well, what about if we wanted to keep our book program going, where we do maybe there are electronic books that homeowners could take out and stuff. And she was a little like she gave me she said that that's an option. We can, if we have some names, we can look into it and we can purchase them. So a license for a
I mean, if
digital
nothing
book.
else, you could have given them back to the historic society.
I think they didn't know, honestly.
Well, how could you not know?
We don't know
Did they
yet.
have our names on them?
But in the records, when Linda Scott sent those books over, she had it with a memo of the listing of all the books that
Yeah.
HPC was donating to the library. And that was with the prior director who agreed to it.
The history center.
Yes.
I think that somehow the communication got lost in the shuffle,
As do the books.
as did the books. But we knew this, we kind of knew this when Wood Stu went over, like a year ago, and they were like, we don't know. But we have the collection there, and
I'll take another look and see if maybe there are some architecture books on the shelf.
There's, well,
I know the
as
one
you
I
say,
donated on historic houses is
Okay.
there on the shelf.
And
Yeah.
I brushed up my Dewey Decimal and went over there a couple of weeks ago, and there is one book in the architecture section, and it's more or less musings from an architect. That's it. There's one book in the architecture section. I take that to mean that there hasn't been a demand from patrons to check out those books.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, we, as library card holders, we're able to request books from other libraries in the county. And so maybe what we can best offer at this point, since the library isn't interested in dedicating shelf space to architecture books, maybe we can host a list of recommended architecture books on our website.
Great
that,
idea.
Residents could then go request from other libraries who have more shelf space.
I love that idea. And I honestly, I think the program thing could be really fun for us. Okay,
That's a good idea.
so like imagine, okay, and you know how I feel about the children's books. Like imagine we do, and what she said is they even have a policy for like programs. Like they have an intake sheet that you fill out and they have to approve it. So we have to brainstorm programs and then we kind of have to present it to them for them to approve whether we do it. But I think we should go for trying to do like a couple of programs next year. And we could have, for example, like Bobby Marlowe reads The Little House and we decorate sugar cookies,
Oh.
and then we have Dave Sabo reading How Jackie Saved Grand Central Station, and then everybody can color a picture of Jackie and Onassis. I'm just thinking like we could do some
I
fun
understand.
programs.
But in the long run, I guess the whole discussion we have about buying books and possibly donating, not doing that anymore.
I don't think
I
that
think we
there's an
shut that down.
appetite. I think we should think through other ways to use our time and energy, because the objective of that, how else can we achieve the same goal? Because I don't think we have the support.
Well, I
of
think
libraries to
Brendan's
have
suggestion of listing
maybe a
resources
bibliography
that people can search out
online.
online and they could find the books wherever.
Yeah,
and then we do a couple of programs at the library as part of community outreach. Just so long as Dave doesn't have to read.
How Jackie
No, I'm
Saved
just
Grand
looking,
Central.
I'm just looking at
Yeah,
what we do as volunteers. I mean, programs, that's a bigger.
I mean, it's not. I don't know. I mean, I'm just going to chat. I mean, I think we could have like we could do a program that involved very little preparation where we would We could have a Q&A with HPC on, you know, maintaining a historic house, or get to know your HPC, or learn about the history of HPC and, you know, what it's like.
The Preservation New Jersey presentation that I mentioned at our last meeting, something like that would be a good presentation.
Mhm.
Yes.
But, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
But to be clear, I think a lot of preparation went into that presentation, so.
The one, and it was on how to,
It was about, maintaining historic properties.
could we piggyback off of their content, do you think?
Or maybe if
have them
there's,
train?
maybe it was Chips who partnered to bring them to the museum, so maybe they would want to partner with us if there was still more demand. There wasn't many people in the audience from Cranberry. They're mostly from outside of Cranberry, so I don't know if that means there wasn't demand in our town and there wouldn't be in the future, or if it just means it wasn't published outside enough. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think there was a limit to the amount of people that could sign up, because I think I wanted to sign up, but it was already closed.
It was in the museum, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That could fit like 5 people in
Yeah, I
there.
think it was like under 40, I think
Yeah.
was the limit.
So, okay, so, I mean, I would be happy to kind of brainstorm some ideas for programs. Bobby,
Yes.
would you support me if,
Sure.
okay. I mean, I think that it could be really a nice way, because, like, you know, we have done all the flyers, you know, in our community outreach. We've communicated that. We can recycle those flyers again if we want to. But I think that, like, kind of like what we did with Cranberry Day, it was very nice, I think, for us to go out there and talk to people.
We might try to tell you, the Historic Society has some involvement with the school programs for kids.
They do, yes.
To talk to Delta about that.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. You could do
Tie
like
that
a
together.
partnership with them.
Yeah, that would be.
That's what I'm thinking too. And we could tie, yeah, exactly. We can make sure that there's not any overlap, obviously, and how we can complement each other. But I think what we would bring to the table versus Chips is that, you know, we are the people that are kind of, you know, overseeing that, you know, process of the maintenance and the town. And, you know, some people may not really, you know, they get confused enough between the two groups. And
Yeah,
so I think having us get out there more so into the community, I think would be nice. Outside of this sort of empty meeting that we're in. So, okay, cool. So, other business. Do we have any other business on the doors? I know Guy is not here. The doors. Training.
Yeah, I
New
have
homeowner
something on
letters.
that. There's no new homeowner letters, but I got emailed about recently. Legislation was passed that will take effect on November 30th, and basically it requires the DCA to prepare and offer a one-day course with no more than 5 hours of scheduled instruction in historic preservation planning. And it says, starting after the first date in which the course is offered, regular, alternate, and prospective members of an HPC must complete the course within 18 months of assuming membership. Existing members must complete the course within 18 months of the first course offering.
This is an online course.
I hope so. For your sake.
Pretty
I'll
much.
let you know as soon as I get more info, but it was pretty bare bones. Like it's not even developed yet, the training. So as soon as they
It's just the
put
new
it
hall.
out, yeah, it's just to say it's coming, I guess.
At least there's training offered. I mean, years ago we had numerous training opportunities, and it's really dried up
Yeah,
pretty much. So that's a step in the right direction.
yeah. So that's coming down the pipeline, I guess.
I have one thing under other business. If anybody's come in from 130 onto North Main Street, so 158 North Main Street, which was Eddie Wagner's old house, and that application, we heard that, I don't know, it was 6 months ago, a while ago. about replacing the slate roof with a new slate roof.
Mhm.
I think
Oh, I saw that. They were
well,
doing-
when I came back in September, when I came back from
Yeah.
Maine, house is like decimated.
Yeah, I saw.
Okay.
They had-
So Stephen Gilisano was brought in. I saw him the other day, so he filled me in. He's going to be, so he was brought in to help fix things. So the contractor that was initially hired, I don't know how this happened, but they tore down the 3 chimneys.
Yep.
Just ripped them off. And I forget what else, but the siding on the sides are all, so they're going to be rebuilding the chimneys. I guess for gas fireplaces, not for actual wood burning. The roof, the slate roof, because I noticed, remember the whole thing about whether it was going to be scalloped
Yeah.
or straight, and
Yeah,
we
it's
approved
scallop-
the
I saw
straight.
scallop.
So it's scallop, but those are the original. Those are the slates. So the new contractor said, you don't have to replace all the slates. We can patch new pieces in. So it's a whole new set of contractors. So they're trying to correct. So it's a lot of stuff being done. So after the meeting, though, I was thinking for when you start the slate tiles above the built-in gutter, you wouldn't use scalloped because then there would be hole. You have to start with straight. And that's, remember, he pointed out the first row was straight. Well, that's logical. And then you build on that. So anyway, they're keeping the original, what was there. So Stephen said, because he thought the meeting was going to be next week.
Yeah.
So they're putting an application in for all this other
Yeah.
work. And it's a ton of work.
They contacted
got
us
it today.
about-
Yeah.
Well, they contacted us about a month ago, and they told us our house is falling apart.
Yeah.
And we were like, and then Gino was like, and then they were like, we're going to put an application. No, we're not.
Yeah.
And so we were like, you know what? We're going to let them deal with what they're doing.
But if you haven't seen it, I think everybody on the commission should take a look at it. What's
Yeah,
going
I-
on?
I
And
have
the other
it,
other
actually.
thing that Stephen pointed out, that's just, as an architect, he said that house, the 158 North Main Street, is really in worse shape than the Protinic Farm, 147 Plainsboro Road.
Yeah.
And they're rebuilding it.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's that. I just wanted to update. I said, I
And they
told
said
them I
they
would
said,
mention
"Oh,
it just so it's out there.
Well, I copied it in case we can't vote on it. but
Dude, it's like a stick.
I- Yeah.
Well,
There's a
a
lot
lot.
Pictures.
You need to look at the house. I don't know, Brendan, have you seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen a big pile of bricks.
I thought, what the heck is going on? Just
Yeah, I don't know if you got to look at it.
No.
It's kind of, he put it in as a ordinary repair because he was saying everything's kind of like for like that they're going to repair it with. I don't know what the opinion
I
is,
thought it
but
had aluminum.
I can pass it on.
I assume they're gonna reuse some of the brick, and so like it's a
Yeah.
repairing a chimney that no longer exists. But
Yeah.
that's what I understand why.
yeah.
And I think there was aluminum siding on the side. That's
Yeah.
That's
No, it said, what did it say about that? There's like wood lap underneath. Is that a term?
yeah.
That they want to take off the aluminum siding
Yeah.
and use the wood lap underneath.
So they hired Steve to come in and help.
To
figure
help
this out?
fix. I mean, his new contractor.
So the
this
old
is the-
contractor basically was bad.
Yes, and this is something for any homeowner that come. They have to be careful of who they get. If they say they're,
I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
homeowner is, I trust him. He knows he is very.
I was shocked, but anyway,
Yeah.
it just
Do you want to look at? I copied it. We can't vote on it or anything.
Yeah, why don't we all take it in for
Yeah.
next month? Or,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Or
Oh, you
just-
think it's gonna be an
Well-
ordinary repair that I can approve?
well, the work is
Well,
going
I don't know.
on.
That's what I'm
Yeah, I mean, they're
unsure
doing
of.
it.
Like
Yeah.
he put it in as ordinary
And
maintenance
it's
or
almost like an
repair
emergency.
and
It is.
emergency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
So I
emergency.
don't. Let me just hand it to
Emergency
you
Repair.
because I wasn't sure if it qualified just because there's so much of it. Like I don't know. I didn't feel qualified basically, so I'd rather just if it is ordinary maintenance, then I can just approve it. But if it's not, it's probably an emergency.
They're removing historic elements.
I'm just reading the first paragraph of the application, and like the first sentence is all work to be in kind of considered restoration. It's out there to use this, so.
Yeah, I
think
agree.
I absolutely think that the chair should be empowered to.
Okay.
And I feel good with what I'm
Good to know.
looking at. I have to reread it with my glasses on.
I mean, they're doing the right thing by
I know,
resubmitting.
I trust he's gonna do the right thing. That's why when we found out that when he called and said, our chimneys fell off the house, we were like,
No, they didn't fall.
our chimneys came off.
They
Yeah,
were
we didn't
ripped off.
understand, but we were like, obviously something is happening, but like this guy is not gonna, he's not doing this to put like a third floor on or a fourth floor. on
No, I
house
mean,
or
the
anything like that.
costs have just escalated.
I don't even want to think about it. Bless his heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pictures are a lot. There's actually an umbrella stuck on the top of the roof, I guess to prevent a
for the-
leak.
For the hole in the roof?
I
or
guess so.
something?
Yeah, if you look further in, I don't know what
That's a temporary solution.
I don't know what
that can
page
be
it
done.
is, but it's kind of in the middle there.
We sent some umbrellas over to 147.
All right, I'll take a look at this with my glasses on. I might ask Sue to also look at it as
Yeah,
well.
if it's ordinary maintenance, I can approve it, but if you want time to look at it.
I'd like to just double check, just so I'm informed.
No problem.
Very cool. Okay. Minutes, any edits to the minutes? I felt good about the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Can I second?
Mhm.
I'll second.
All right, roll call for the October 21st minutes. Ms. Sutmeyer,
Yes.
Yes.
and Ms. Marlowe.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Motion passed.
I think we have any discussion on any other topics. Yes.
I think would be public comment on that. So,
Uh,
I have a quick question on the list of properties that are identified that was sent over last week or whatever. In looking at those, hypothetically, if and when those get approved as historical outside of the historic district, what does that mean for property owners? Like, do those properties fall now in the realm of needing to put in applications differently to modify their homes or anything like that?
No.
So
It's really,
essentially just to get them on a list,
yes. So
so that they exist.
that we have a record of them because we've lost a number of farmhouses.
Sure.
They're gone. And there's no record of them. So at some point, like for instance, let's bring the Henry Farm. If that was surveyed in the database,
Yep.
that makes it easier for that property owner because these are all standalone
Mhm.
historic districts. That's how it would be. If the property owner agreed they want to pursue having their property made into a
Right.
Yeah.
historic
Now, if
And
they-
it's
register.
really-
register.
And the reason why none of these have been dealt with in the past, that they've been deprioritized because they're all over the place.
Right. No,
And you can't like make it into a continuous.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it from, all
Yeah.
the stakeholder
No, that's kinda
perspective,
like-
right?
Yeah.
Like, so if I owned a farmhouse somewhere, let's say, I don't want to use a particular
Right. Right.
somewhere in town,
Right.
outside of the historic district, we go ahead and put them on this list, and I want to knock my house down to build a new one.
Well, you still,
Does this?
you'd still have to go through demolition process and everything.
But it would have nothing to do with HPC.
The list, just to clarify, I haven't seen the list, this is the list of properties that are gonna be surveyed? Is that-
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
It just brought up some question.
It's the first step.
Step one out of like 20.
Yeah.
That are,
I wouldn't even say that it's a step in the process, because the result of the survey might be this doesn't warrant further consideration.
Right.
Or any sort of
Yeah.
anything.
Right.
It could-
that's why it's step 1 to 20.
But if it is identified as,
SHPO
It would be
opinion.
still-
Well, so a number of those properties on the list are in the master plan as historic sites. And those, as we discussed this summer, those, if there's residential development taking place on those properties, they have protections from Cranberry's ordinances.
Right.
By virtue of already being on the master plan.
but hypothetically, one of the.
The one that aren't on the master plan, but are surveyed, have a PDF document that describes what, that's the difference there.
And it also gives, like I said, the property owner could choose,
If they-
oh,
yeah, if
I
they
want to
wanna go
pursue
through-
this and put it on national
Yeah.
register.
Sure.
And then there are so many steps. There's getting this SHPO opinion, and then you start getting into the actual, local designation, then, state, national.
Or at least you have the documentation.
There's so many
Sure.
steps
Sure.
involved in that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really to document, which hasn't been really done, Cranberry's historic farming community and the farmhouses that are part of that.
But I think one thing is like, let's bring it back to like, we sent this list out. It shouldn't be just like, oh, because the property on this list is getting, surveyed and the owner could decide to demolish it whenever they want. I think the point of us sending the list on to TC is to say, once we've done a survey, we could find out that this house is majorly historic. We could find out that it's majorly not historic. But that's why we need to be kind of brought in the loop sooner versus later, because it would be better for us to be able to assess it earlier, because we might decide that it's not as historic, and it's bringing people.
You're talking
into the
about for
process.
affordable housing development?
Yeah, for affordable housing or anything that the town is planning to do. That's why we have this list. We sent it on because, it's good for everyone to know what we're prioritizing right now. So,
Answered my question. Thank you.
okay, so any other discussion points? Okay, so I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, take care. Good night. Thank you.